Yeah, intelligence. That's an interesting subject right there. Tell you the truth, I've got a little story I'd like to talk to you about, tell you about, personal experience of mine concerning intelligence. Back in my younger days, I'd do some work around the farm, and one day I was out with a friend of mine digging a ditch in the middle of a wide open field. I don't like to call actual names, so I'll use a fictitious name. Call this friend Rusty. Well, at any rate, me and Rusty was out there. It was the middle of the summer. We were down in that ditch digging, and good Lord, that hot sun was burning us up. Me and Rusty was trying to figure it out between the two of us why we were down there in that ditch digging like we were, and we looked back up there on the doggone hill over there, and here was a boss man sitting under a shade tree, had a nice pitcher of cool water, and he was napping. It just befuddled me and Rusty. We just couldn't figure it out. We talked about it. Finally, Rusty said, "Look, let me go up there and ask him. I'll get to the bottom of this." I said, "Go to it, Rusty." So at any rate, Rusty went up the hill talking to the boss man, woke him up from his nap. Probably didn't make him too happy, but at any rate, Rusty said, "Boss," he said, "why is me and my buddy down there digging that ditch and you sitting up here under this cool shade tree with a pitcher of cool water?" He said, "Where's the difference?" The boss man said, "Well, Rusty, it's a matter of a thing called intelligence." Rusty said, "Intelligence? Boss man, what's intelligence?" And the boss man said, "Well, Rusty, it's kind of hard to explain, but I'll give you an example." Old boss man got up and took a step back from the tree he was leaned on. He reached over and put his hand on it, and he said, "Rusty hit my hand." And Rusty said, "Boss man, I'll hurt your hand. I can't hit your hand." The boss man said, "Rusty hit my hand." So Rusty proceeded to rear back with his fist, and he drove it forward, and just about the time he got to the boss man's hand, the boss man dropped his hand. Well, of course, Rusty busted his knuckles up against the trunk of the tree. He proceeded to jumping around, hooping and hollering. His hand was hurting, and the boss man told him quietly, said, "Well, now, Rusty, does that answer your question about intelligence?" And Rusty, he turned around and started back down the hill towards me. Well, you know, my fictitious buddy Rusty, being cocky like he was, by the time he got back down to me, his hand wasn't hurting quite so hard. And yeah, he's feeling kind of cocky because he knew what it was all about. Well, he got back down to me, and I said, "Well, Rusty, well, what did the man tell you?" And Rusty said, "It is a matter of a thing called intelligence." I thought for a second. I said, "Rusty," I said, "what's intelligence?" And he said, "Well, it's kind of hard to explain, but let me give you an example." Of course, we were in a doggone ditch out there in the middle of the field, a wide open field, no trees around. He looked around, didn't see any trees. He said, "Here, hit my hand." Now, figured it out for yourself. Boy, that's what you call intelligence. So just remember again, folks, be what you is, because if you be what you ain't, then you ain't what you is. And you know, that makes me think about my buddy Rusty. But good gosh, we know what he is now.